Guys, good morning. Can you hear me? Karan Sharma. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Guys, yesterday class topic is what? Yesterday class we discussed about servlet creation, right? Guys, do one thing. Today, let me create the new application. So let me take the new workspace for your class. Eclipse Oxygen 3A. So April 2018. Guys, can you hear me? Yeah. Guys, today we'll go for the designing servlet concept, guys. Yesterday class continuation. As you know, to create a servlet, how many approaches we have? Guys, to create a servlet, so many approaches we have.
Three.
There are three ways to create a servlet. To share the class notes, we are using protectors.com/. We have the servlets 10, right? Yes. Can you quickly explain what you apply based HTML servlet Tomcat apply? Okay. Ranjan, what's the question? Good morning. If you don't mind, if not mind, can you quickly explain where to deploy JSP HTML servlets in the Tomcat? Or deploy today app to Tomcat. Yeah, today I'll deploy after completion of this code. Okay. Yeah, today we'll get the clarity. Okay. Yes, password is a Java. Just to check the last class notes, just you can go through this website, producttest.com/servlets10. When you open this, you're asking password. The password for this link is Java. JAVA is the password, right? JAVA is the password. Because yesterday class, we understood that how to configure the servlet, right? Everyone is clear about how to configure the servlet? Yes or no? In a client server architecture, the way to the different there are three ways, right? There are three ways to create a servlet actually. One is implementing servlet interface, extending generic servlet, extending HDF servlet, right? Okay, fine. Yeah. There are three ways to create a solid. Implementing solid interface, extending generic solid, extends what HDF solid, right? Exactly. There are three ways to create a solid, guys. And first approach we're discussing implementing solid interface. To implement solid interface contains total 5 methods. Out of 5 methods, how many methods are lifecycle methods total? 3 methods are lifecycle methods. You need to select and identify. And how many methods are non-lifecycle methods? Get solid config and get solid info is a non-lifecycle method, right? Okay, very good. After that, we discuss these are information. So 2.5 versus 3.x, right? 2.5 project if we created. If we create the 2.5 project, then what happens is here the project is updated with XML code. And if you select the 3.0 version, BS ready, sir. When you gonna take the next batch? Because there is no next batch is actually Advanced Java because I'm taking now live classes, offline classes. So maybe this is my last batch regarding online. We will see. Any chance is there? I'll let you know. Okay, good. Because ID is yeah. Because XML based configuration means what? So we need to configure the servlet using this one, right? So every servlet to configure, we require the two tags, guys. Servlet tag and what? Servlet mapping tag is there. So this is a URL pattern, guys. This logical name, both are mapped. Then when you, from the client browser, when you send this URL pattern, then what happened here? This corresponding servlet got executed, right? From the client browser, when you send this URL pattern, then what happened here? The corresponding servlet got executed, right? Exactly. That is a URL based mapping, guys. XML based configuration. Java based configuration means what? @web servlet, right? Exactly. Just quickly, let me create the new project for this one. Let me take the new workspace, guys. To take the new workspace, servlets 10 a.m. Just in local disk E, servlets 10 a.m. is folder is created, right? Servlets 10 a.m. just folder is created. Okay, just click on OK. Okay, just click on OK. The workspace will be open. Workspace will be open, and Servlet's predefined support, guys. The project specific jar files we need to place in inside the project lib folder, right? Exactly. Servlet-api.jar, guys. Servlet-api.jar, right? Okay, fine. Guys, let me create the project. Because out of 3 methods, yesterday class, just you can check the Servlet API docs once. Servlet's API documentations. No. Folder search is always same, Anjan Matthew. Folder search is universal. Maybe your latest version is taking the Maven project. You can try to check it. Maven folder searcher. Under the top of the project, you'll get the M, right? In the project, you have the M in the sense Maven project. Yeah, because Java X.Servlet package is there, which contains like Servlet class. Servlet class is there. This is information, right? Yeah. Because lifecycle methods. Let me check once. Yeah. Okay. See here, when the server started, guys, public void init method, initialize method. Who will call this method, guys? Called by Servlet container to indicate the Servlet being placed into service. Guys, init method means what? The servlet is being placed into the Servlet is being placed into what? Service, right? Exactly. Okay, the Servlet being placed into what? Service, right? The first point, guys. Yeah, called by the Servlet container indicate to Servlet that the Servlet being placed into service, right? Okay, fine. The Servlet container calls the init method exactly after instantiating Servlet. Because actually, when the request comes to server, first of all, the server will instantiate that class, instantiate that object. Instantiation nothing but what? Object creation, right? The Servlet container calls the init method exactly after instantiating the Servlet, guys. Instantiation nothing but what? Object creation, right? You are too speed. Can you please teach slowly? Have fine. But maybe you are the today first class BCR ready. BCS ready. Is that today's first class? No, sir. Then yesterday class we done these points, right? Init, service, and destroy. Yeah, Dinesh, sir, some slow. Yeah, I will go slow. It's not a problem. Okay. Yes, first method you need to think about the init method, right? Who called the init method? Called by Servlet container to indicate to Servlet that container being placed into service. Init method is called means it's saying that the Servlet is placed into service, right? Okay, fine. The Servlet container, who will call this init method, guys? The init method is called by Servlet container. Guys, who will call this init method? The Servlet container calls the init method exactly once after instantiating the Servlet. Guys, once the instantiation is completed, then init method is called, right? Exactly. Guys, see here, the init method must complete successfully before the Servlet receives any request. Okay, guys, this is very important. The init method must complete successfully. Then only the request goes to service method, guys. Because where we will write the main business logics using service method, right? The init method must complete successfully before the Servlet can receive any request, right? Because before the Servlet receives any request, the init method has to be completed successfully. Then only the Servlet is able to take the request properly. The statement is clear. Good. There's a point, guys. See, guys, here that is called Servlet init method, guys. Next one, you can take the Servlet service method. Second lifecycle method. Tell me,
sir, how this init method gets invoked or how it is done?
That is a point here, right? Who called init method? Servlet container, right? Servlet container calls init method exactly once after instantiating the Servlet. First instantiation will be done. Guys, I'm sending the request to the specific Servlet. Assume like you are sending request to what? A request to specific Servlet. Assume like first Servlet you are sending the request. If you are sending the request to first Servlet, then what happened? Tell me. If I send a request to first Servlet, the Servlet container first instantiate this Servlet object. Guys, who will instantiate this Servlet class? Instantiate Servlet. Nothing but what? Creation of object of Servlet, right? Yeah, first instantiation will be happen. After instantiating the Servlet, then it calls the init method. then it calls the init method. That point is clear. It's called the init method. After calling the init method, okay, after calling the init method, if init method is successfully done, because if once the init method is successfully done, if you want, you can see that point here. Yeah, guys, here the servlet container cannot place the servlet into service if the init method is throwing exception. Guys, if the init method is throwing any exception and does not return any, like, doesn't give any response, it doesn't call the service method, guys. It says clearly when you send the request to particular servlet, guys, when you send the request to particular servlet, first servlet instantiation will be happen. After instantiation, which method got executed, guys? Init method got executed. Once the init method completed successfully, see, guys, this is called by servlet container. This is called by servlet container to allow the servlet to respond for the request, right?
Like, sir, suppose we send a request to our browser or from our browser to the server, there will be a servlet program running. So the request invoke the servlet container first. Then that servlet container will initiate.
Yesterday class, what is the point we done? Tell me. Yesterday class, we told you when you send the URL pattern to servlet, that URL pattern checked in web.xml file first. That URL pattern, assume like you are sending URL pattern is the first, right? First is URL pattern. First is URL pattern means what? With that URL pattern, what is the logical name? AAA, right? I think this logical name, same. Then when you send the URL, based on these logical names, it decide the corresponding servlet or not.
Yes, sir. Yes,
once,
sir.
Once the servlet is decided, what I'm saying that, so once the servlet is decided, servlet instantiation will happen by container, servlet container. Instantiate the servlet, nothing but object creation, right? After the object creation, servlet object is created by container, then it is calling the init method. Who is calling? Server is calling. Okay. Once the init method is successfully completed, let's see the status code. Yeah. Once the init method is successfully completed, see, guys, this method. See, read this message once. You please read this message. When the service method is called, you please read this message here. This method is only called after the servlet init method has completed what? Tell me, this method is called after the this method is only called after the servlet init method has been completed successfully, right? Once the init method is completed successfully, then service method is called. Okay, service method is called, right? Exactly. And what the service method is saying? Called by servlet container to allows the servlet to respond for the request. It means what? The service method only is responding for the request, right? Guys, service method only is responding for what? Request. Okay, that is the point. Responding for the request. You got the point, right? Yes. Yes, first, yeah. When you send a request to corresponding servlet, then servlet container will come into the picture. Servlet container will instantiate the servlet. Instantiate the servlet. After instantiation, init method got executed. After init method is successfully executed, service method got executed, right? Service method got executed. Service method only will respond to the request. Yes, which method will respond for the request? Service method will respond for the request. Okay, and tell me, guys, servlet service method expecting how many arguments? Yes, service method expecting how many arguments? 2 arguments. What are the 2 arguments which contains? Yes, you need to understand very clear the point, which contains 2 arguments, request and response. What is a request object will hold? Yes, a request parameter will hold the data which is coming from the client. Maybe some cases you will send the login details, right? Username, password. When you send the login details like username, password, those all username, password, whatever the data is coming from the client, The servlet request object that contains the client requested data, the client request. As client request in the sense what? When the client sends a username, password, in any data, let's go for request object. Sir, what is this response object, sir? Because what I'm saying, the service method will give the response to back to the client, right? Whatever the response you're going to send to the browser, that response we need to add into response object. That's the servlet response object that contains the servlet response. Servlet response means what? Whatever the response you're going to send to browser, that response we need to add into which object gets your response object, right? I think you got the point right now. Yes, please respond. You got the point, right? Gaurav. Yeah, so you got the points, right? Yeah, that is called request object and what a response object is. Request object means the data is coming from the client. The data is coming from the client, which is stored in the request object. That response gets the servlet response object that contains the servlet response, right? The servlet response object contains servlet response. This is second life cycle method, guys. And the third life cycle method. If you take the third life cycle method, that is called destroy. Destroy is called at last, called by servlet container to indicate that servlet is being taken out of service. Okay, this is taken what out of service, right? Exactly. Out of service means what, guys? Like completed the task, right? Exactly. So these three methods are called by container, guys. When you send a request, first servlet is decided based on the URL. Because when you send the request based on the, let me write otherwise clearly the points, guys. Yeah, based on the URL. When you send the request based on the URL, the servlet is yeah, the client sends the request. When the client sends the request, then what happens, guys? Here, when the client sends the request, so based on the requested URL, based on what? Yeah, based on the requested URL, the servlet is decided. The servlet is decided. Okay, decided based on what? Because based on the request URL, the servlet is decided with the help of what? With the help of configurations done in, tell me guys, configurations in web.xml file, right? Exactly. The second point, guys. The third point is what, tell me? Clients will send the request. Based on the requested URL, the servlet is decided with the help of configurations in web.xml file. Okay. Once the servlet is decided, guys, the servlet, once the servlet is decided, servlet container will instantiate the, tell me guys, it is servlet container will instantiate the servlet object, right? Yeah, instantiate servlet, guys. Instantiation is nothing but what? Object creation, right? Yeah, once the servlet is decided, the container will instantiate the servlet, guys. Exactly. After instantiation, after instantiation, what happens here? Container will call the, which method, guys? Here, service method. Sorry, the container will call the init method, right? Init method to perform initializations. To perform what? Initialization, right? Exactly. Guys, that is clear, right? Yeah. And one more point, guys, here. After initialization, service method is called, right? The service method is called after the servlet init method is completed. I can add this point, guys. After instantiation, what happened? Initialization method. Service method is called. Service method is called after servlet init method has been complete. Servlet init method has been completed successfully, right? Exactly. After that, destroy method called by servlet container. Yeah, destroy method is called servlet container. Yeah, destroy method is called servlet container. Destroy is called servlet container to indicate that servlet is what? Out of service, right? To indicate to servlet is being out of service. Because I think out of service, right? Exactly. I think you got that point, right? Guys, this statement, the flow is clear. Everyone, please respond. This flow, any questions? Client sends the request, application flow, guys. You take the application flow, the client will send the request first step. When the client will send the request, http:// localhost 9999 some port number, localhost 9999 slash the URL is what? Something like no first solid is URL, right? First solid is URL. That is the point, guys. This is the first pointer. Second point is what? Based on the URL, it will instantiate the servlet. Once instantiation is done, it is calling which method, guys? Here init method. After init method, we got the service method. After that, we got like destroy method, right? Exactly. Guys, any questions about this flow? Tell me. Client sends the request. Based on the request URL, the solid is decided based on the configurations in a .xml file. Once the solid is decided, the container will instantiate the servlet. After instantiation, init method is called. Service method is called after the solid init method completed successfully. Destroy method is called solid content indicate to solid being out of service, right? This is the flow actually what happened. Good. That is the point, right? Exactly. Guys, here service method. So where we write the main business logic, guys? So write the business logic for servlet. Tell me where we write the business logic servlet. Write the business logics of the servlet using which method, guys? Yeah, using service method, right? Write the business logic servlet using service method, guys. That's what. Let me create the project now. Guys, let me close all. I think servlets 10 name already workspace is available. Already workspace is present. Okay, fine. Let me create the new project, guys. So we'll go to the file menu, click on new, go to the file menu, click on new. I want to create dynamic web project, right? Click on dynamic web project. In the dynamic web project, we need to take the project name. Guys, what the project name? Tell me here. The project name, like Servlet basic apps. Guys, we need to take the new workspace is better because in Eclipse ID, we need to configure the server. Once if we configure the server, then only you'll get this servers folder. Okay. If it's a new workspace means that is better actually. Switch workspace, others, just you can take the 10 a.m. new. 10 a.m. new. Just click on OK. The workspace will be shifted, right? Okay, it's fine. Because meanwhile, you can see write the business logics using service method, right? There's a flow if execution. Any questions? Init method executed, service method got executed, destroy method got executed, right? Yeah, when you send the request to the client based on the URL, the service solid is decided, the solid class decided, right? Based on the URL, the solid class is decided with the help of configurations in a .xml file. Once the solid is decided, the solid container will call the solid container will instantiate the servlet. After instantiation, solid call the init method. Then after the init method, we go for the service method. After service method, destroy method, right? Exactly. That is the flow actually. Guys, now let me create the new project, guys. To create the new project, yeah, current 1 second. It's loading the file. Yes, initially you get the welcome file like this. Okay. Just you can close this welcome file, guys. You can close this welcome file. Then you get the project structure like this. Back project explorer where we can show all the projects, work area, outline, console, server console, right? Because we need to check which mode of Java, Eclipse which is present. JWE mode, guys. This Servlets 10 a.m. new. We have the mode like JWE mode, right? Yes, yesterday I shown how to create the project. Today also I'm showing again the process. You'll get the more clarity. JWE mode is there. Very good. Make sure that when you're doing the Java servlet practical, your servlet ID in the JWE mode. Go to the file menu, click on new dynamic web project. You need to select dynamic web project. You need to select, guys. After selecting dynamic web project name we need to take. What is the project name? Tell me. So Servlet basic apps, right? Exactly. I said module version 2.5. Then your project is configurations are updated with Tell me guys, your project configurations are updated with what? Your project configurations are updated with tell me your project configurations are updated with what? And annotation or XML file? XML, right? Exactly. You just click on the finish, guys. Okay, see here, now you will get only one folder that is called project folder. Solid basic apps is a project folder, right? Exactly. No other folders, guys. When we see this folder here, we will get the Java resources, web content folder, web.inf folder, lib folder, web.xml file. Okay, because first we need to create the servlet at server side. To create the servlet, guys, what we need to do? To create the servlet, where we need to create the servlet, tell me? We need to create the servlet under the which folder? Java resources folder, right? In the Java resources folder, src folder, right click new. Because Java resources is there, right click here, new. Let me create servlet. Click on servlet, guys. First approach means how to create servlet. Package name like com.tcs. Class name is what? The class name is first servlet, right? Guys, you don't take any super class. If you don't take any super class, then by default it is taking which format? Guys, if you don't take any super class, then it will take the data by default what? Tell me, by default it will take the first approach, right? Yeah, if you don't take any class, then
right.
Yeah, then the first approach will be taken, right? Click on next. I told you clearly, Eclipse side it automatically generate the XML configurations, right? XML configurations. That's it. By default, class name is taken as a by default class name is taken as a URL, right? Exactly. No problem, guys. I want to keep this one only. Just click on the next button. It just is showing like how many methods it will override. 5 methods. Because which interface it is taking by default? Java X.Solid Solid interface, right? Okay, fine. Click on finish, guys. Yeah. Tell me, guys. Then what happened here? We got the fonts is very less. Can you please check the font size, right? Can you please check the font size? Yeah, can you please increase the font size, guys? To increase the font size, what is the structure, guys? Go for the Windows. Just to increase the font size, Windows preferences we need to type. Windows preferences, here directly can type the font. Guys, Windows preferences font, here colors and fonts is there. Double click on this. Here we get the basic font. In the basic font, you can find like text font. We need to edit this. Text font select, edit the text font. Let me edit the text font, guys. I want bold italic format. I want 14th size. Just click on OK, click on OK. That's it. The font is good. That's step 1, guys. And step 2 is like next one, what is the next one here? So here it's showing some red marks, right? Yes. Why is he showing red marks? Tell me. Because the Servlet predefined support in the form of what? JAR file, right? Guys, Servlet predefined support in the form of what? JAR file. So we need to build by the JAR file or not? Guys, we need to give the JAR file to this application, right? Sir, how to give the JAR file to this application, sir? Because to give the JAR file to this application, we need to copy the JAR file. Where is the JAR file? Local disk C. Tell me, guys, local disk C, program files, Apache Foundation, Tomcat 9.0, lib folder we have. In the lib folder, servlet-api.jar is there. Just you can copy that jar, guys. Servlet-api.jar. Just you can place that jar in the lib folder, right? That's it. This is a project lib folder, guys. Guys, once if I place the lib folder, all errors are gone. Are you able to see, right? Now, any errors are there here? There is no errors. Guys, step 1 is you can create the servlet. Step 2 is what? Once if you create the servlet, it is showing errors. So we need to copy the jar file, place the jar file in the lib folder, right? Yes, sir. No, exactly. Application steps also if you want, right? Application flow and application steps. For step 1, guys, here, please create the servlet under the Java. First step, you can create the project. Create the dynamic web project Eclipse ID. Dynamic web project Dynamic web project in what? Eclipse ID, right? In Eclipse ID, you can create the dynamic web project, guys. Create the dynamic web project in Eclipse ID, the first step. Because you want me tell like no, you need to go to the file menu, click on new, select the dynamic web project. You want me write these points? File menu, new dynamic web project. I think no, right? Yeah, step one is the dynamic web project, guys. Go to the file menu, click on new, select the dynamic web project. Okay, so here give the project name and select the select the servlet version. Select the servlet version is what, 2.5, right? Exactly. Then click on finish. Click on what to finish. That's it, guys. With that, your project is created. Guys, click on finish, right? Step one is completed. What is the step two? Create the servlet under the Java resources folder. Java resources folder, right? Create the servlet under the Java resources folder, right? Exactly. Guys, tell me how to create the servlet under the Java resources folder. How to create the servlet under the Java resources folder means, right click on what? Right click on SRC. Right click on SRC. New, under new, select the servlet, right? Select the servlet. Once you select the servlet, give the package name, and give the servlet name, and okay. In first approach, don't take any super class, right? Yeah, give the servlet name, guys. And okay, what you can do? Guys, tell me what you can do. Based on the approach we created, based on the approach, take the super class, right? Take the super class. But in first approach, what any so in the first approach, any super class required? In first approach, super class not required. Then click on what? Next button. So here it will show, URL mapping, right? URL mapping, right? Exactly. So by default, what it will do, guys? By default, it will take by default class name taken as a URL. Okay, if you want, you can change. If you need change. If you need, you can change, right? You can change. That's up to you. Because last step is what? To click on finish. That's it. These application steps are clear, right? First step is create a dynamic web project, give the project name and select the servlet version 2.5, click on the finish, create the servlet under the Java resources folder, click on SRC, new, select the servlet, give the package name, give the servlet name, give the, based on the approach, take the super class. In first approach means what? Super class not required. Click on next button. Here it will show the URL mapping. By default, class name is taken as URL pattern. If you want, you can change. If you need, you can change. Click on finish. I think this is step one is completed. Okay, good. Step three, guys. What is step three? Tell me now. Step three. Once the servlet is created, servlet is what? Created. It will shows what? It will show errors. Errors, right? Okay. To overcome this, give the overcome this. Place the servlet API.jar file in bin location. In which location, guys? Here lib folder. In lib folder we need to place. Guys, which folder here? We need to place the, once the servlet is created, it will show errors. To overcome this problem, tell me, guys, to overcome this problem, place the servlet API.jar file into project lib folder, right? Project lib folder. Sir, where is my project lib folder? This is my project lib folder, right? So that you can get the web content folder, web INF folder, lib folder. Okay, project lib folder, right? Yeah, here you can find the project lib folder, right? Exactly. Just I'm documenting every point project lib, right? Then all errors will be rectified, right? Up to this one is come done. The step one is create the project is completed, create the solid under the solid resources completed, create the solid under the Java resources completed. Once the solid is created, it will show error, right? It will show error, right? Exactly. Okay, step 4 here. Now step 4 here. What is step 4? Guys, solid is ready. The solid is ready means then you can write the code, right? Whatever code you need, you can write the code, right? Yeah. Because before that, you can check the web.xml file. Because web.xml file by default class name is taken as URL pattern, right? Because every servlet to configuration source, you can see source design is there. This is called design part, guys. This is called source part. Click on the source part. Every servlet contains like two tags, servlet tag and servlet mapping tag. Guys, check the web.xml file. Check the web.xml file. This is the code, guys. I think here welcome file is not required, display name is not required. Okay, just you can take the root tag is what the web API tag. Okay, fine. Servlet tag is there. Every servlet tag contains two tags. Every servlet to configure requires two tags, servlet tag and servlet mapping tag. Guys, this is the URL. When you send this URL, this logical name both are same. When you send this URL pattern from the client browser, it will execute what com.tcs.first solid will execute, right? Yes, com.tcs.what first solid got executed or not? Exactly. Com.tcs.first solid got executed, guys. You need to check this point once, okay? Good. Step 5. Yes, write the code in the servlet. Write the business logics in what servlet, right? Exactly. What are the required? You can write it there. Go to the servlet, guys, where you write the business logic in the first servlet, right? Guys, to show that what are the life cycle method, just let me write the print statement in every method. Let me write the print statement in every method, right? This is our control space. This is like init method. If really this init method got executed, then you decide that this is a lifecycle method, and this is like okay, destroy method, and this is like get servlet, get servlet config method, and this is like yeah, get servlet config method, and this is like get servlet info method, and the last one is like yeah, service method, right? This is like service method. Exactly. Okay, this is like service method, right? That's all. Just I'm writing SOP statement. If this SOP statements are executed, then you decide that that solid got executed, right? Like that is life cycle method, right? Okay, then we decided that is called life cycle method. Very good. Good. Out of these all methods, guys, where we will write the business logics means under the service method. Okay, in the service method, let me write the logic, guys. Guys, logic in the sense what I want to send some response to browser. Whatever the response you are sending to browser, that response we need to add into response object. Observe carefully, guys. Whatever the response you are sending to, whatever response you are sending to the browser, that response we need to add into which object, guys? Here, response object, right? Exactly. Sir, how can we add the data in response object? Guys, 2 points. Remember always 2 points, guys. Always remember the 2 points. The first point is that the request data, whatever the request data is there, that is stored in the request object. If you want to send some response to, okay, if you want to send some response to the browser, that response we need to always add in response object. Okay, these 2 points are important. Always remember these 2 points. Yes, 2 points are clear. The first point is what? Whatever the data request object is there, the request data comes to request object. Whatever the response you are going to send to browser, that response we need to add into response object, guys. Yes, the statement is clear. We need to add in response object. Now, what you decided now, you want to send us some response, so that we need to add the response into response object, right? Sir, how can we add the response into response object, sir? To add the response into response object, we need to use the print writer object. Guys, we need to use what? Print writer object. First, you need to create the object of print writer, because we need to create the print writer. Print writer equal to response dot what get writer method we need to get. It will get the print writer object. The print writer object contains a write method. Print method. Writer dot what println. Writer dot println of. Can please add some response in response object, right? Yeah, this is tell me guys. Okay, this is what first servlet. Yeah, first servlet application, right? Exactly. So we need to create the print writer object, guys. Print writer equal response dot get writer. Writer dot println we need to call. This is the first servlet application, right? Guys, this is the first servlet application or not? Yeah. So what is the purpose of print writer object means? To add the response into response object, guys. Are you clear now? That's it, guys. We done the point. Okay, we done the point. This is only 2 lines required. Print writer equal response dot get writer. We are adding response dot like a writer dot println, right? Writer dot println. It is writing the data to the response object, right? Then whatever the data we are adding using writer dot println, which is there in the response object, that response object reach to the browser window, right? That is the code, guys. Guys, now tell me any questions. Guys, now tell me any questions. We got the URL pattern is clear, right? So finally we decided servlet logics also ready. Once the servlet logics also ready, then what we need to do? Write the business logic, right? The last step, guys, step number 6. Okay. Guys, the first application step number, write the business logic in the servlet, right? Step number 6. Guys, once run the project. Run the project, guys. To run the project, right click on the project, run as. Actually we need to run on server. Guys, right click on the project, run as, run on server. So yeah, right click on project, right click on the project. Tell me guys, run on what? Run on server. Actually when you do like this, first application running, okay, it will ask first application running, we need to configure the server. Yes, first application running is we need to configure the Tomcat server into Eclipse ID. The statement is clear. First application running, we need to configure the Tomcat server into Eclipse ID. Sir, how to configure, sir? Okay, see, it is asking like, run on server. It's asking like, configure the server, right? Select the Apache, select the Tomcat version. Tomcat 9.0 is there in my system. Okay, select the Apache, select the Apache and what? Select the Tomcat version. Okay, once if you select the Tomcat version, click on next button. Okay, next button. After the next button, guys, just to follow the instructions, write the example today, run this example. If any questions, tomorrow I'll give explanation. Okay. Yeah. Guys, next one is what? Installation directory. Select the Apache, select the Tomcat version, next button. After that, what? Browse the installation directory. Tomcat installation directory we need to browse, guys. Guys, next one is what? Browse the Tomcat installation directory, right? Browse the Tomcat installation. Yes, browse the Tomcat installation directory, guys. Exactly. Guys, where we need to browse? Here you need to browse. Click on the browse option. Select the Tomcat, guys. So where is the Tomcat in my system? This PC, program files, Apache Foundation, Tomcat 9.0. Click on OK. Click on finish. Guys, once if you click on finish, observe carefully. Observe carefully. You'll get a servers folder, guys. Up to now, previously you have a project folder, right? This is Servlet basic app is a project folder. Then we got the servers folder, right? Guys, we got the servers folders or not? Exactly. We got the server folder, right? Exactly. Guys, what we need to do? Browse the installation directory. Click on finish, right? Click on finish. Click on what? Finish. Then what happened, guys? Here, once if we click on finish, we will get servers folder in Project Explorer, right? In Project Explorer. Yes, in Project Explorer, we will get the servers folder, right? Exactly. Yes, statement is clear. Yes, right click on the project, run on server, run as a run on server. First application running, we need to configure the server in Eclipse ID. Select the Apache, select the Tomcat version, click on next, browse the installation directory, click on finish. We will get the servers folders in the Project Explorer, right? Exactly. Yes, but some cases we'll get the message ports are invalid. Guys, some cases we will get the errors. Ports are what? Invalid. Guys, ports are what? Invalid. You'll get sometimes we will get the message like this, guys. When you get this message, guys, read this message, guys. Yeah, it's saying that sometimes you'll get error message like this. The server cannot start it because one of the more ports are invalid. Open the server editor. So you guys read this message, open the server editor and correct the invalid ports, right? Exactly. Sir, how to open this one? Let's click on OK, fine. Guys, in the below, you get the server option, right? Server menu is there. Are you able to see server, right? Yeah. Yes, sir, no. Right click here, properties you need to select. Otherwise, just double click on the server, guys. Is what you can say here, servers menu, double click on the server. Once you double click on the server, yes, in server menu, double click on the server, it will open the server Tomcat 9 server at localhost. Okay. Yeah, guys, in server menu means in the bottom side, guys. I don't know if you're able to see this one or not. Yeah, this one is right, server menu. In the servers menu, okay, double click on what? Double click on what you can say, guys? Double click on server, right? Double click on what? Server. What you can say, guys? This one is what?
Localhost.
Tomcat 9 server at localhost, right? Double click on what? Double click on what? Tomcat 9.0. Double click on Tomcat 9.0 server at localhost, right? Exactly. You guys need to double click on this. Then you will get the properties, right? Here we need to change, guys. What is the change? Tell me. The port number is there, right? Admin port number. Guys, maybe admin port number is missed. Just you can give some 6767. Admin port number, HTTP port number. Because after changing, give some admin port number and HTTP port number. Guys, give some admin and admin port number, admin port and which port, guys? Here HTTP port. Guys, here we will see two port numbers, two ports. One is admin port. Next one is what? HTTP port. Okay, admin port we can give something. HTTP port also can give something. Admin port, give the any 4-digit number, any 4-digit number. If already there, just you can modify it. Give the any 4-digit number, right? 4-digit number. When you got the message, this one, guys, sometimes if you get the error message ports are invalid, you need to change like this. Something like 6767, something like 9999. I think you got the clarity, right? Exactly. Guys, everything is done. Okay. Yeah, first time I changed port numbers. Right click on the project. I want to run this project. Right click on the project. Run as, run on server. Run on server. See, guys, it won't ask like again Apache Foundation, right? Because already server is configured. No? Only first time running, we got this issue, guys. Remaining times directly you can see, right?
Hello, sir.
Ah.
What is the significance of the admin port and the HTTP port? Like, what is the difference?
No, that's the processor level, guys. They will take care about internally. So just you can Google it if you need more information. Just you can get it. Yeah. Just you can use the port number. That's it. HD port is the main for us. Admin port is like internal processor level. So multiple HDD ports are running under single admin port actually, like administrative panel type. Okay, good guys. Click on next button. Just select the servlet application. Just click on the finish button. See guys, now the servlet server will run. Yeah, what it's saying is immediately. Again, the problem is there. Port 99 is invalid because in my system, morning onwards, I'm running Spring Boot applications, microservice applications, advanced applications, right? Maybe the ports are like already occupied. It's saying that like that. Just click on OK. Then what you do guys? Server menu. Double click on this one. Tomcat 9.0 server at localhost. Once if you double click on this one, you will get the port number. Just what you do guys? You can change this 9999 to 8888. Save it. Control S. Save it. Guys, after changing, we need to save, right? The most of the students after changing, just they will close this. Then are not working. You need to save now. Right click on the project, guys. Run on server. So click on next. Just to select the project name what you are going to run. Only one project is fine. If you have multiple projects, means it is showing all the projects, right? Just click on the finish. Now, no doubt, guys, definite application will run. Application will run. Guys, if application is running means we need to send the URL, right? What is the URL we need to send? Tell me. Guys, what is the URL we need to send?
First servlet.
Exactly, right? Guys, we need to send the URL is what? Yeah, first servlet, right? Exactly. Guys, see here. Once the server started properly, we will get the browser, right? Guys, I hope clearly I documented every point today. Yes, right? Every point is documented. Once the server started properly, you will get the browser. You will get the browser, right? So send the request to what? Server, right? Send the request to server, guys. What is URL pattern, guys? The URL pattern is what? This one, guys. First servlet. Click on enter button, guys. Are you able to see the message, right? This is the first servlet application. You got the point, right? Exactly. Guys, HTTP is the protocol, hypertext transfer protocol. It is responsible to make the connections and to carry the data. Okay. HTTP protocol, guys. Hypertext transfer protocol. HTTP is the protocol, guys. Protocol will take care about the communication, right? Take care about what? Communication, right? First one, guys. Next one is what? Local host. What the meaning of local host, guys? It's like, server IP address. Server IP address, right? Because in my system, my server is the same, right? That's what local host is there. Servlet basic app is the project name. Servlet basic app is what? The project name, right? Yeah, this is the project name, guys. We need to understand everything in the starting classes so that your application becomes very simple for you. First servlet is a resource name. Okay. So to this resource, you are sending a request, right? Resource name. So you are sending the request to the first servlet resource. This resource belongs to this project. This project is running on this port number under the server with this protocol. You got the clarity, right? Left hand side, we need to read, guys. We need to read the things from left hand side. What we need to read, guys? Tell me here. This is a resource name. This resource is present in this project. This project is running under this port. This port is there in the server. Guys, we got the point, right? So we got the output or not? Exactly. Guys, when you send the request, we got init method, right? First init method got executed now, then service method got executed. Service method got executed. Guys, if you send the request one more time, click on enter, service executed, service executed, service executed. It means servlet initialization done only once, guys. That I'll tell you in tomorrow class. Servlet initialization done only once. After that, only service got executed. Okay, good. Because some cases, if you are doing some any modifications here, we need to save it. Because application is recompiled. The servlet is recompiled means what? Application is redeployed. If application redeployed means what? Previous application undeployed. Now again it is deployed, right? There's undeployed and what? Deployed. In that case, undeployment case, then what happened, guys? Guys, see, for example, if you are doing any message here, Servlet some xxx, just you can save it. Once if you are saving, then what happened? Tell me. The code is like no recompiled, right? The code is recompiled. The redeployed application actually. See, guys. Application reloading the context. If you are doing the modifications, right? Modifications means what? Application recompiled or not? Recompiled. This modification has to be reflected, right? The application is redeployed. Application redeployed in the sense what? Undeploy and deploy, right? During undeployment, destroy got executed. Again, it is reloading the reloading, right? Reloading also completed. Guys, I think you got these 3 life cycle methods, right? The server startup in so on milliseconds. So if you are doing any modifications in data, then tell me, guys. If you are doing any modifications in Servlet, guys, what is the note here? If we are doing, if we are done any modifications on Servlet code, the application is what? The application is redeploy, right? The application is what? Recompiled and redeployed. Redeployment is what? Undeploy and deploy, right? During redeployed means undeploy and deploy. So during undeployment, destroy method got executed, guys. Guys, redeploy means what? Redeploy means what? Undeploy and deploy, right? Undeployment and deploy. Okay. Undeploy and deploy. During undeploy and deploy, guys. During undeployment, the destroy got executed, right? The destroy method executed, guys. That is a point. The statement is clear, right, for everyone? Guys, everyone's clear about the statement. Redeploy means undeploy and deploy, right? During undeployment, this one is executed. Guys, actually reloading is completed means just you can send the request. Previously, we don't have xxx here, right? Now you placed xxx, right? See, guys, xxx is placed or not? Redeployed and redeploy means what? Undeploy and deploy, right? Exactly. Guys, any questions, please? You got the point, right?
Sir, how to just undeploy it?
That we need to use using server console, that I'll tell you. Okay, that I'll tell you in the later classes. But if you are doing the modifications any servlet, if you are doing any modifications means what? Undeployment is done, then deployment is done. That is the point we need to focus. Okay. Guys, I clearly documented every point, guys, very clearly. So you need to follow the application flow. Complete this all the steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, step 6. Okay, then see the output. Okay, very good, guys. So this is like Servlet first application, right? Execution, guys. Because everyone, please do the practicals of first application very clearly. Servlet first application, very, very important. Yeah. Because let me place this code in workspace. Yeah, your class notes link. Today is the day 5, guys. Tomorrow, Saturday, tomorrow, no class, guys. The next class will be Monday. The guys who are paid fees, you will get the Monday class link. Okay, Monday class link. Try to complete the payment and try to take the new link. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, when we get the new link, all the 5 days note will be included in the Google Drive also.
Exactly, Karan. Everything is included in the Google Drive.
Okay, sir, I have paid yesterday, but till now I haven't received any link.
Yeah, I'll check once. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Sandhya and I told them they'll get the access to you. Okay. I think you got the access. Just you can check it.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe he came to me and he's asked like Sandhya is asking access means I told him. I think they given access already. Just you can try to check once.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Bye guys. Monday we'll meet.